Hey Dylan, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thank you so much for inviting me to this. My name is Dylan. I'm currently a freshman at Boston College studying computer science, potentially considering a minor in management and leadership. I graduated Hanoi last year in Hanoi, Vietnam, but I spent most of my life living in Korea and parts of my life in the United States. At Boston College, I am involved in a variety of things. In particular, I'm involved in the Shea Center of Entrepreneurship Student Executive Board as a freshman ambassador. And I am also a presidential appointment to the undergraduate Boston College government as an international student representative. Apart from that, in my free time, you'll probably see me reading, some self-development books. I'm reading Atomic Habits right now, either watching YouTube, playing basketball with friends, or playing poker. So that's a little bit about me.
That's such an impressive intro, and you've accomplished so much. Can you share us a little bit more about at what age did you really get serious about studying, and what is your motivating factor?
hmm So I think in terms of like the academic studying, so I did the IB program for my junior and senior year. I actually think second semester sophomore year was when I started to spend more time, with academics. But I think in terms of more of like the extracurricular side of things, I think I've always been passionate about the stuff I did since seventh grade. I actually started things with playing video games, and that got me interested in, game development, and that slowly evolved into like the world of entrepreneurship, which I am exploring today.
That's fantastic, Dylan. Of course, along the journey, right, we have a lot of successes, but setbacks as well. So if you could reflect on some of the largest hurdles that you had to overcome to help get to where you are now, it'd be great to share.
Mhm. Yeah, so the reason why I would say that like a lot of students start, studying studiously since freshman year of high school, the reason why I am more of like a late boomer is that from a very young age, I always wanted to be an Olympic swimmer. I swam since I was the age of 7, so that's what I always wanted to do. But in middle school, I had a series of knee injuries that kind of crushed that dream in some ways. And then I had some reoccurring injuries in high school as well. So like in a second moment, I just didn't have, I didn't know what I wanted to do next. So I guess that was, the biggest hurdle I had. But I think that also taught me skills of, being resilient, being adaptive, like having adaptability and having grit. So although I'm no longer, in the swimming pool, I guess I'm, doing other things competitively, whether it's in computer science or entrepreneurship. So I guess, yeah, that is my biggest hurdle thus far.
Wow. So who's your favorite swimmer of all time? Michael Phelps or someone else?
I do like Michael Phelps, but I also like this Korean swimmer called Park Tae-hwan because I actually think there are a lot of Korean athletes that are great, but I think he was one of them that truly put our country in the map with the world of swimming, just like what Son Heung-min is doing with football. So I think I really admire both Michael Phelps and Park Tae-hwan.
Yeah, those are some super accomplished athletes there. Yeah, so of course, academics are important, but you shared a little bit more about your extracurricular activities. So if you could reflect back, what parts of your extracurricular activities and character development helped you the most on your journey?
So for instance, I did start with the whole realm of game development, as I've mentioned earlier. But the first main project that I did when I was in high school was this game during COVID-19, using gamification as a way to educate younger adults, to wear a mask, practice social distancing. I think I always wanted to use my ability to use technology to educate others. And that led me to work on making Hanoi's first STEM club, and then we slowly expanded to become a nonprofit. So I think rather than like a particular extracurricular activity that helped me, I think it was the story that I could build, the narrative that I built through an overarching mission that I'm still trying to accomplish to this day.
Fantastic. Yeah, so along your journey, of course, we met when you were in high school. How did Point Avenue, working together with you and your parents, help you define, reach for, and achieve your success?
So in terms of like the explicit benefits, obviously you first taught me SAT. I credit you for all the SAT scores I received and all that. But I want to talk more about the admissions program that you guys offer. I don't know if the consultant that I worked with works there right now, but I think Point Avenue's focus on character development and me as a person was more, as a holistic person, was more memorable rather than just a bunch of numbers, IB scores, SAT scores. I think they looked at me as a person, what my strengths were. And I really credit Point Avenue for helping me find my interest in entrepreneurship, specifically through helping me gain admissions to the MIT LaunchX program, where I, opened my eyes into the realm of entrepreneurship. So to summarize what I just said, I think Point Avenue's unique value proposition, or what I find most memorable, is this character-focused mentorship, helping me not only find my passion in entrepreneurship, but also to become a better person in general, rather than just trying to use me to get into like the best colleges or something.
Of course, and that's our commitment to our students. And I know, Dylan, you also spend a lot of time mentoring others, and I'm really excited for the audience listening in to learn from your experiences now that you're at university and pursuing your goals. So could you share a little bit more about what you think attributed the most to your application success?
Yeah, so I just wanted to first explain Boston College as an institution. We are a Jesuit institution, and our motto is basically to be men and women for others, kind of guided by these Christian Jesuit values. And when I look back at most of the work I did in high school, I think that mission really resonated with some of the work I did. So to name a few, through my STEM club, we helped local Vietnamese students and students in international schools to work on their own projects. We had students making, cleaning robots, rockets. We had a lot of students working on missions that aligned with the SDGs. But on the other hand, although I stopped competitive swimming, I still kept swimming very close to my, my interests. And I was the executive director of an NGO called Swim for Life, where we helped local Vietnamese students how to swim. So after swimming practice, I would stay at the pool, help these local students come over to Eunice and teach them swimming. So I really feel like most of my extracurriculars, not willingly, but I think they all kind of shined that mission of being a man for others. But on top of that, I think obviously trying to balance out a lot of commitments in terms of maintaining good grades while doing what I'm passionate about, I think I attribute that to.
Fantastic. So being a man for others, man or woman, this idea of selflessness and serving others before yourself is a lifelong value that I know you live up to. What is life like at university as a freshman? And then, of course, what helped you prepare for life there?
Yeah, so I think the biggest change that I've experienced is that many of you guys that might be watching this, you might be the best athlete at your school, or the most academically talented, or the most technically gifted. But I think once you go to university, now it's just a bunch of you guys at different schools meeting up in college. So I think that is a pretty big transition, because in my high school, I was pretty much the only one that was deeply passionate about computer science. But now there is a department of pretty much versions of me, thousands of versions of me. So I guess kind of being at a more competitive, group of like a cohort of colleagues, I think that was the most eye-opening. But at the same time, I think that competitiveness really helped me to push myself and grow as a learner. And apart from that, I think one good thing about my college journey so far is that there are way more opportunities open for me to just capitalize on, whether it's even just a simple grabbing lunch with a professor. I learned so much from that, or taking resources like some of the startup incubator programs at Boston College give out a lot of money for pretty small requirements. So I think just capitalizing on those opportunities, taking advantage, and learning from your colleagues every single day, I think that's the most valuable things I've learned thus far.
Dylan, I think one of the greatest takeaways from just your character and the decision making is this desire to push yourself outside of your comfort zone and having a commitment to this growth mindset. I would say most college freshmen stay within their comfort zone. They just focus on academics, getting settled in this new environment. But in your introduction, you provided such an illustrative example of how involved you are in terms of the course selection, strategic course selection. I want you to talk about that iOS class that you decided to take this freshman year, as well as all the extracurricular activities, the student life. So what are some ways that students can take advantage of these opportunities? And of course, share with us specific examples of how you've done that.
Yeah, so I think for the first part the second part of taking advantage, I think a lot of opportunities are out there for you. I think it's just a matter of you taking the initiative of grabbing them. In terms of my own experiences, like I've mentioned to you at the beginning of this call, I decided to take an iOS development class. It's called Intro to Swift, Becoming a Full Stack Developer in 15 Weeks. It's taught by Professor John Gallagher. He has close relations to Apple's former CEO, Steve Jobs, former executive VP, Phil Schiller, and he knows all of the unicorn startup entrepreneurs that graduated Boston College. He always brags that all these entrepreneurs were in the seats that you were sitting at. So it's really great to take these classes. However, it was pretty challenging because it's a class designed for seniors and juniors. I decided to take it my freshman year because the professor is going on sabbatical next year, and I am still a Korean citizen. I do need to go serve for my country, go to the military for 2 years. So I didn't want to wait 3 years to grab that opportunity. So I think just taking that risk, I think high risk, high reward, taking the initiative to take those classes is one great thing to build a relationship with a lot of distinguished professors at your institution. As I've mentioned earlier with my extracurriculars, I think there were two main things that I really wanted to accomplish coming into BC. Number one was I think BC is very known for its business programs. It is a pretty competitively ranked school, our Carroll School of Management. However, I think our STEM programs weren't up to that par. So one of my missions was to raise awareness about the strength of Boston College's STEM program. My second mission was Boston College is a pretty predominantly white institution. International students are around 10.3% of the undergraduate student body. I wanted to advocate for them, promulgate for their some of their challenges. So there were two missions that coming into Boston College I wanted to explore. So how I'm doing that is I am a part of the student executive board of the Shea Center of Entrepreneurship as a freshman ambassador, and I am also a representative of the undergraduate government. So I think those are some things that I do, but I am also members of other smaller clubs like the CS Society, Investment Banking Association, just as a general member. Because I think not only should you do the stuff you're passionate about, I think college is also an opportunity for you to explore new things. Like investment banking is something that's brand new to me. I just wanted to test it out. I think it's an opportunity for you to just try new things, make new hobbies, make new friends, and take initiative, take risks, and have fun.
Super inspiring and motivating, just listening to all of the opportunities you're taking advantage of. And by the way, every single day, by pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, you're growing. And for the audience members listening in, that's really the type of mindset that you need to have to achieve this lifelong success. Reflecting back on your high school, what specific skills or techniques did you learn that you still rely on today?
I think the number one thing is grit. So the IB program that I took is a 2-year program. So it isn't something that I take for a semester and it's over. It was pretty challenging, but I feel like some of the skills that I used in IB, whether it's time management, being resilient, talking to teachers and making that relationship, I still do that in my college classes. I do admit that some of the college classes are much more challenging than IB, but I do think as long as you're controlling your time, making sure you have room for not only your extracurriculars, but I think putting academics as your first priority is very important. So getting that done, but also I think building a relationship with your professor is the most important thing that I've learned so far, because they're people as well. They're there for you as a resource and they're rooting for you. They're not going against you, trying to make you fail. I think it's just your ability to take initiative to grab the opportunities ahead. If you're struggling with the topic, go to office hours. I think those are some skills that I've learned, in high school that I've learned and I carried over. But I think another important thing that I have is to be passionate about what you do. If you have a genuine interest in what you're doing and you try to integrate every single thing that you do towards an overarching mission, I think you're much more motivated to do it. And I think that's one way I try to prevent any burnouts and things like that.
Yeah, we can feel your passion through this interview here.
Yeah, so in terms of for the parents, I think there might be moments where your children might be unreasonably grumpy. I don't blame them because it is a pretty stressful process. I think just cheering them up and trying to understand them. Although I don't understand, it's very tough. I think that's the number one advice, because my parents were so supportive. I appreciate what they did, because I don't think I would have accomplished anything I have without them. And for the students, I think the one thing that comes up in college admissions is selecting a school. The advice that I give to some of the students that ask me about, hey, what schools did you choose, is I think rather than having a dream school, having a dream school list is more important. I think obviously plan A, if you get in your dream school, congratulations. But there might be the case where that doesn't go through. I think having alternatives are great. The other thing is, rather than trying to do everything, I think trying to have everything you do connected to a narrative is more important. So for me, it was kind of this whole notion of educational equity, service, and technology. I think you guys should find what you're truly passionate about, connect that to what you want to do in the future, because I don't see college as the next step for me. I see it more as a tool for me to accomplish some of my bigger goals post-college. So I think if you see college as a step for you to improve as a better person and take advantage of all the resources out there, I think that's the advice I could give.
That's some really wonderful advice, and your parents must be so proud of you, Dylan. Thank you so much, Dylan, for your words of wisdom.